My name's Kelly.
I'm Rebecca. Actually, it was one of our friends, a really good friend, that recommended it. She'd been over to Eastbourne and she'd been here. And then we'd been over and we just didn't like it. And we loved it here from the second we walked in.
I think it has that welcoming feeling that we didn't really get when we went. It felt quite generic, whereas here it was warm, wasn't it? And
yeah, everyone was so friendly and I don't know, it had a different feeling, like you say.
Definitely. And for me, it was something, being a mum is something that I've always wanted to be since a very young age. So yeah, it's happened. Dream made. So this is Marley, our daughter, full of personality and sassiness. So we had Marley through IVF, and right in the beginning, as soon as we'd had the open evening and we found out that it was possible for Rebecca to be able to egg share, that was kind of definitely the route that we decided to go. I mean, we didn't really discuss it that much, did we? It was kind of like, do you know what, if we can help someone else, then it'll eventually come back like good karma. We believe in that. So we thought egg sharing was definitely for us. And we've helped a couple of ladies, and then ultimately it came back our good karma and we ended up with Marley. So it's been a great year, really great. Different, but great.
Hi, my name's Ricky. I started my fertility journey back in 2016. Unfortunately, we had a tricky road. Me and my husband had 2 ectopic pregnancies, which resulted in the loss of both of my fallopian tubes. When we first found out we were pregnant, we were shocked, for one, because you kind of build a barrier when you start a fertility journey and you've been going through it for a long time. You just have to protect your soul, and you do that by, keeping positive but also being realistic. So we tried to, have hope but manage our expectations. And we were so shocked. I mean, happy, elated, and just so pleased that we had put all of our trust and efforts into making this work with the Agora.
I know for me, I wasn't as disappointed as you because we'd egg shared and I always knew that my eggs were okay. Eventually we'd get there. But for you, it was a bit like...
I think I'm a little bit older. So for me, it was kind of, it'd been something I'd wanted for such a long time that it kind of just, it felt a little bit like a slog towards the end. But again, I've always kind of tried to remain positive and just focus on the goal, really. We're both quite positive people, aren't we? And I think it's just taking it step by step. I mean, the first thing is to both get tested and work out the best route, really, to take to get to the end goal, really.
So when the lockdown was announced in March, we were gutted because we assumed that was going to be a backlog of patients. We were also really concerned for other people that were going through the journey who were going to have their fertility put on hold that was much further down the process than what we were. But what we did find is there wasn't any backlog. We didn't have any delays. We actually found that the process was so much quicker than what we ever anticipated. When we first got our referral, we were told that it would be up to a year to process and start the fertility treatment. And we had started our fertility treatment in the September, so only 3 or 4 months after we started our journey with the Agora. I'm currently 9 weeks pregnant. This is our first round of IVF, so we are one of the extremely lucky ones, and we couldn't be any more thankful. The whole process has just been absolutely magical and we're really excited.
I started my IVF journey in January. It hasn't been a straightforward journey. I don't think anyone's journey is particularly straightforward. My first cycle, which I was all ready for, I'd had my eggs collected. The day of my implantation, we went into lockdown. So it was a really difficult decision to make at the time about whether to actually have my implantation done or not. After hours of tears and sadness and discussions with the staff here who took hours to sit with me and speak to me and make sure I felt listened to and understood.
And all the staff are very attentive and supportive as well, even through the bumps in the road. you never really feel like you're on your own, and that you're kind of at the end, if that makes sense. You always feel like you've got ways to go and people to turn to. So yeah, it's a lovely feeling.
So the Agora uses the Salve app, and I found this one of the best ways of communication, because often when you need some information or you just want to check your medicine, it's so much easier to just send a message on the app and have a response from a nurse that also, it just says it for you. So sometimes, especially if you're quite emotional on the phone, you can forget what you're being told, but just having that on the app, and I found that a really, really useful tool for communication.
It was very clear, and you can get going straight away. In your head, I've spoken to so many people that are going through the journey at the moment, and they think, you know, it'll be 6 months to a year till we can start. And actually, it's really not. It's get your sperm ordered and you can go straight away, which is nice. And it's simple.
You go at your speed that you want to go, really. I mean, you can either kind of jump in with 2 feet and get going, or you can take some time to think about it. But the information, it's always there and available. I mean, the open evening was really, really useful. It talks you through kind of all the individual options. And then you've just got to sit down and work out which one would be best for you. You know, whether financially, you know, there's lots of factors that you need to take into account, but the information's there for each of the different pathways anyway. So, but the open evening I found really, really useful. The website's amazing as well. So much information on there. If you chose to do it at home with donor sperm, then that again is your choice. But for us, it was never an option. We were never going to go down that route, mainly because
there's too many risks. Number one, this is my personal opinion. There's too many risks. The legality of it all, and even looking through thousands of donors, picking one that you know is right. And we went to pick one, and actually Carol said, why would you pick that one? Because they're not 100%.
The chromosomes.
Don't go with someone that's not perfect, go with a perfect donor. And that just sunk in really, and made it clear that I wouldn't have done it at home ever.
You know, it's a big thing to go through, falling pregnant, being pregnant, and the whole process of it. And for me, there was never any doubt that we wouldn't have the backing and support from medical professionals in that. It was never an option to just do it at home and to kind of take the risks and not know all that background information, the medical side of it. And you know, if there was to be any complications at home, I just don't know how people would feel about that. Whereas here, we would pick up the phone or pop into the clinic, or so. Yeah, it was never a decision.
When my child is old enough to understand, I definitely am going to be proud of the fact that we went through this process, and you know, our baby was conceived via IVF. It's, you know, such a hard journey, and I want them to understand and appreciate how, you know, normal it is and how okay it is, and how it makes nobody any different because they are going through these times. I think sometimes infertility can be a bit of a taboo subject, and it doesn't need to be. I want to make sure that my child is aware of that process and really proud of how it got here. I couldn't recommend the Agora enough. I cannot express my gratitude and my happiness to have been able to work with such amazing people and go through this journey with people that actually care about you, that actually understand what you're going through, that actually take the time to find out about you and your life. And that was invaluable through our whole process.